Hey there, StuffYouCanUse.org. I want to share a resource with you that I think you'll find extremely useful. I don't know about you, but math has never really been my strong suit. And so when it came time to budget, I'd kind of get by year to year, but when we'd have a trip or a big event, I would always stress that I was forgetting something. And then finally one time I did. It was an expensive mistake, but it showed me that I had a need for a system that would work better for trips and events. So I called up a professional and asked her to help me put together a spreadsheet that would allow me to enter all the expenses I would incur on a trip or an event, and then it would do the math for me. It works like a charm, and I use it for all of our trips and events now. It's an Excel spreadsheet, but it works with iWork on a Mac. So let me show you how it works.
Okay, now that you can see this, I'll show you how the budget works. The first thing you want to do is start in the top left where it says total people attending. This means adults, teenagers, people being sponsored, whoever. If they're going on the trip, they need to be in this box right here. So we'll say for this example, we're going to have 30 people. The next line down, youth absorbed volunteers, and what that means is if you have volunteers that you don't want to have to pay, but they're not budgeted for in your budget, you can work it in so that the kids split the cost of these people going. We'll say we're going to have 4 youth absorbed volunteers on this trip. The next line, budget covered volunteer and youth minister. For us, we have in our budget for any trip or event, we have it the budget set up to cover the youth minister and a volunteer. So for us, that number is 2. For your church, it may be more, it may be less. That gives us the total number of paying people. That's 24 people who are actually paying, with checks or credit cards or whatever to go on the trip. Then you start filling in your expenses, your variable expenses per person and your fixed amounts. So you're going to rent a van for this trip for a week. That's about $100. Gas is ridiculously expensive. Let's say it's going to cost you $500 for this trip for gas. Trailer rental is a fixed expense. A speaker, if this is an event, a youth rally or a conference or something instead of a trip, well then your speaker is going to have a fixed amount as well. We'll say $700. Lodging is normally done per person, so if it's a $100 room and you split it between 4 people, that's going to be $25 per person per night. We'll say it's a one-night trip, $25. That's lodging. A room rental refers to like a conference room or something like that. Food, we normally budget $3 per person per meal. 11 meals be $33. Shirts, $10, etc. If there's a cost you have that isn't on here, of course we've already given you a lot of the normal expenses you can expect, but let's say you want to get trip insurance. Well, you can put that in yourself. It's totally editable. Anywhere there's an X, you can add a new line item or you can change any of the line items up here. So you'd add that amount in. That's done by the group. Say it's $400. And what you've got now, once you put these numbers in, the template automatically totals these numbers up and gives you your total cost at the bottom, $3,775. That's how much money it will take to do the trip. Now, let's say if your youth budget, you've budgeted some money to take a little bit of the cost off the top, you can add that in there. If you have a special donation or you've done mission trip fundraising or something like that, generous donor, you can add that number in as well, and it subtracts from the total cost and it gives you the amount you need to collect. And down below what you see, here's the amount to be collected per person. That breaks out to $75.83. But what we know is that we don't actually have 30 people paying. Remember at the top we have 24. So the next line shows you the amount to be collected minus, it says budget coverage, and what that means is the budget covered volunteer and youth minister. Okay, so minus that amount of money. If it costs $75.83, then minus that times 2, and you'll get this number down here. Number of paying people, we have 24 people who are paying. Minimum to charge per person, and it gives you that number. Right? This is your break-even point right now. With the way the trip is, it'll cost $88.47. Now you get to choose how much you're going to pay. So if you want it to break completely even, and your budgeting is that good, $88.47, and you'll see over on the right-hand side at the top, you will lose 5 cents. If, however, most of us do, I think, round one way or the other. Let's say $88 is too much. The most your kids can afford to pay would be $70. Well, that's fine. You can plug that number in. It'll show you how much money you'll be losing. So you either have to trim that much out of the event or the trip, or you have to find money to cover that cost. Or if you're worried, hey, gas might go up between now and when we actually leave, should probably budget a little high, you could say we're going to do a $95 trip. And there, now you know you have a $156 cushion. So that's the way it works. You're pretty much just plugging in numbers, words where necessary, and it does all of the math for you all the way down. At the end, you choose how much you're going to pay, and it will tell you if, based upon your numbers, if you are in the red, or at least the way the budget shows it now, in the green. Technically, you'd call that in the black. But that's pretty much all there is to it. It's pretty easy.
All right, that's all you need. I hope you enjoy using the trip budget template, and thanks StuffYouCanUse.org for providing these awesome resources.